Welcome to Rooted Cosmic Soul. This is a collective insight session in which we're going to be playing with equinox energy and asking the equinox to give us a story that can offer us insight into this moment in time that we find ourselves here on this amazing planet in these troubling and also beautiful times. So I want to give a quick shout out to nature. I had a really beautiful opportunity today to sit outside with Onyx. I'm going to drop a picture in here right now of the time that I got to spend outside with Onyx today. I'm really blessed that I get to spend time with Onyx outside every day, but that's also just part of my awakening process and my need to maintain balance means I really have to be outside quite a bit. But today I could feel equinox energy. I could feel Neptune, Venus, Saturn. I mean, I could feel just the mix and the swirl of all the energies that are around us, offering us opportunities to root, to ground, to soar, to lift, to lower, to release, to heal, to look again. And I just want to give a shout out to nature and earth because I got to sit under some oak trees and it was really amazing. So with that, let's get started. So I'm going to keep with the tradition that I've started thus far to start with an energy that's just going to sort of give us an idea of who's helping us hold this space, but also really who's helping Equinox bring the story forward. Because per usual, I did ask some archangels to come in and hang out with us. And so we've got Cassiel. Cassiel, the tears, helps to release sadness, tears, and grief to make way for healing and growth. Normally, I just asked for one, but two showed up. So also Thuriel showed up, the discovery. And Thuriel supports discovery, exploration, and new beginnings. So this card here is going to give us an idea of what archetypal goddess, or guardian is helping Equinox tell the story about to unfold. And that is from the Gods, Guardians, and Goddesses, Gods, and Guardians Oracle deck. And this is Elemental Oracle. I want to bring in the elements. It is the Equinox, and give the Equinox an elemental energy to draw from. This is the Divine Nature deck. When I sat with the energy to figure out which decks to use for this story, this one popped out very clearly. That wanted to be included in the story. And this is given the Neptunian times that we're in. I'm going to stick with the Mystic Shaman Oracle that we've been using for a couple of sessions now. Let's see. Message for mystics as we are on our awakening paths and journeys. Since this is an insight session, insight message, of course, we're going to use the Transmuting the I deck that helps us, since many of us are trained in Western modes of external gaze. These are going to help us stay internally faced and go deeper and deeper wherever you're at. Any person can meet these cards where they are, and depending on where you are will determine the level of depth that you take the message. Interesting. Okay, spirit. Okay. Yes. 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 So let's just sit with this for a little bit. I'm going to move this like this. And see it. So I don't know why I'm feeling to do it this way, but I am. So I'm going to go with the intuitive hit. Do it this way. So that you can see it too. Okay. So the goddess energy that is helping the equinox bring forth this story is a Mexican goddess named Tosol Teat. Tosol Teat. A Mesoamerican Earth Mother of the Aztecs and a Hostec, of the indigenous Mexican people. And Tosol Teat is a goddess that holds forgiveness. Like it's said that the story behind her is that she would lure people into their vices and deeds that their society might deem not okay, and then forgive them for it. When this energy tends to show up in an oracle reading of mine, it means part of the story is going to be about either forgiving of oneself or forgiving of others. Since I tend to do, self-inquiry is my love language, I'm going to go with this is going to be a story that will require something is happening for you that requires intentional work to forgive the self. And Equinox is going to share a story of how to do that. And Tosol Teat is holding that space for you to let you know that it is possible to forgive yourself. We open up with the energy. The story opens up with motion, with air. And it is number 22, which could be balance, choice, or union. I think that this is very much about whatever is the meat of the story, which you're going to know for your particular situation, what is going on, what energy you're moving through during this eclipse, the in-between eclipse season, what energy Neptune and Saturn are holding for you to revisit and release, what energy Venus is holding for you right now around getting clarity around your values and who your I is. If there's this, there might be something holding you back from that. And the way to get past that block is to think about forgiveness of the self. And you're going to be able to do that through motion. Air is also, as I'm getting a message, air is also about communication. So it could be the need around, this story speaks of actively communicating some sort of forgiveness. So it could be that I'm just saying, I forgive you to myself, right? Or to the part of me that needs forgiveness. And again, if your situation is external, you're going to know, like maybe your story is very much about something that occurred with energy outside of yourself. And so there's a lot of courage in forgiving others. So take it that way as well. I get the feeling that the story could go either way, because there's something about, it's interesting that Cassiel and Thoriel showed up, because Cassiel is about, helps with the release of sadness. It's the tears, the grief that is of this moment, planetarily, energetically, that's coming up to bring stuff to the surface so that we can release and let go what no longer serves us and move into what does. And then there's Thuriel, like that moving into what does. Thuriel is about the discovery, right? And they're supporting exploration and new beginnings. So there's could be a subsequent story or two stories happening at once. Maybe you've already went through the forgiveness process, and now it's about the discovery of what happens after forgiveness, which I'll get there in a moment. But one of the ways to consider the insight equinox is offering, which is beautiful, right? Shows up with an element like bam, air, motion. And air can be associated with communication. For many of us in Western society, communication, it's in the mind. It's going to be a lot of thoughts. It's going to be like we think communication, emails, text, social media, right? Posting stuff, words. The idea here, the Sol Deat, is holding space for that forgiveness. The way that you're going to be able to step into that is to understand that what led you to the need for forgiveness is part of your journey. It is what brought you here. So really kind of release any binds of like shame, of blame that you're holding about why you didn't get it right the first time. And really step into the idea of engaging and enjoying the learning adventure that is your journey. That's not to say that the process of forgiveness is easy, but to just try to do a reframe of like, well, the process of forgiveness could actually be something that eventually leads one to joy, leads one to understand, oh, this is a learning adventure. I needed to have this occur on my journey so that I could learn A, B, C, D, whatever it is that's on your path. So really engage when your mind starts running into blame, moving really fast in blame and shame around whatever is going on for you at this equinox moment. Try to take a breath, because also remember air element is another signifier for breath, for our breath. And the other insight offering that came up in the story was to explore the daily use of transmutation tools, ideas, and concepts. And the one that's coming out, and it's interesting because this is an ace card, so it's like the beginning. And one of the things that I talk about that really helped me, it helps me to this day, but really helped me at the beginning of my insight journeys, was to breathe, slow down, and be curious, right? So breathe, that element of air, especially when when my mind starts swirling, take a breath and really practice breath, a slow breath. Take a few of them. It's going to help slow down the thoughts. And then I get curious, right? I get curious of like, what is happening? What is in movement for me? What am I feeling in my body that needs attention? And the story moves into like, once you're like that movement, maybe it's like this idea. It's interesting, right? It moves into dance. If you can see the colors, it's got that beautiful green that's moving into dance. And this idea of whatever is happening for you, dance it out. And it's really interesting, right? When the equinox is like, okay, we got some air and communication. We know that it's in the mind. My messages are held by the divine masculine. And so they're going to be messaged about rational thought, logic, linear movement, mind-based action. But what the equinox is saying that, and consider taking all those thoughts, like I'll show you in this very next card. Look at all this energy coming out above the dancer's head, right? This could be all the thoughts that need to be released and let go. The idea of like in the dancing, in the movement could open up space for you to really imagine that, okay, this is a learning journey, and I get to engage and enjoy it in that way, and in understanding that I don't have to be perfect. This happened because perfection is a lie. And there are ways in which I can move through this. And the insight from the equinox is coming from, again, 2 spirit cards. So it's like equinox is offering us the energy of spirit energy, which is messages about connecting to and relating to and understanding higher consciousness, your source, your spirit guides, which is really amazing because they're in a forest, right? They're growing out of a tree. What more spirit guidey could be? Could we ask for, right? And they're in a forest. If you've ever spent time in a forest, which again, remember, I spent time in a forest today. If you've ever spent time in a forest and really listened, you know that you are in the company of a lot of energy and spirit. And so the equinox is like, okay, here's the story about that offering to dance, to move about. And it is to burn and release ways of being that no longer serve you. And so that's part of forgiveness, right? Like, part of forgiving yourself is to release, like, whatever it is that you are holding on to, feelings about, not knowing what you did not know when you did not know it, not saying what you were supposed to say, not showing up the way that you now know you could have showed up in whatever situation it was. Burn and release that, because staying in that and running yourself in the ground does not serve you. So use the energy of fire, the elemental energy of fire, to just let it go. And equinox, we're in the vernal equinox. So we're in the northern hemisphere, we're starting to move toward more light, moving into spring, longer days. The sun will be out more. So you're moving into a space that, as you're out and your movement and you're in that dancing, use the sun's energy to burn that up. And as you are releasing this, forgiving yourself, remember and activate an abundance mindset, meaning it is not as good as it gets. Whatever that situation is, whatever that situation was or is, that is not as good as it gets. It is simply an adventure on your journey. And remember, there is more to come, that you are worthy, perfect, and whole, exactly as you are and exactly as you are not. And that more is coming to you. So again, it says activate an abundance mindset. Just remember that when your thoughts start swirling too much, breathe, slow down, seek clarity. Other transmutation tools and ideas are grace and compassion. Like, really lean into grace, compassion, kindness for yourself and the journey that you're on. Personal responsibility. If this is an external situation, taking personal responsibility, making amends, being in conversation with folks, learning if I have done something that needs to be rectified or apologized for or sought forgiveness for, that I am in conversation to learn about it and step into forgiveness for real, not just to placate other people. And then the story moves into the hunter. So the hunter is about the energy, which I really love, right? So it's almost like it is moving. I kept moving, well, not kept. I moved the cards until it felt a little bit more like it fit. Mostly it was, I wanted to make sure that you could see it in the video, but I'm looking at it now and it's kind of like, look, it's moving this way, which I really love. It's like in the flow of like moving up toward, and over here, you can't see it, but over here are the archangel cards. And the hunter is moving right into ethereal, the discovery, right? Supporting discovery and exploration. The hunter card is about the energy pre-agricultural, where we used our senses to go out in the world and get what we needed. And we didn't overconsume. We just got what we needed and knew that it was enough. And that was it. And so I would translate that now based on the insight card that Equinox shows, that to think about it in terms of knowing that you are enough, right? Like, since we're not hunters and gatherers anymore, but we are always on the lookout in a toxic, masculine, consumeristic, capitalist society. We're always on the lookout of ways to be better, to be enough. The idea is to step into the true hunter, to know your definitions of your own and others' worth and worthiness, like the true definitions of worth and worthiness, the true definitions of what is enough and what is not those definitions that have been given to us by a construct that hates us. And this is coming from love. This is coming from messages about exploring, understanding, and stepping into the state of oneness, the embodiment and the presence of divine love. And it's coming in at a number 5, which is really interesting because the dance card is number 5 as well. And if we go this way, it's like 5-5, which is a sign of movement. I think in this, it could also be change, but movement from the hunter energy that has been given to us to the hunter energy that was originally, in terms of your definitions of your own worth and the worth of the earth, the worth of others, and worthiness. And in order to really ground in that story, to really move through that, flow in the gift of your emotions, right? To deepen your connections to self, to others, and to ancestors. And you're going to flow in that through water. It's almost like, if you are going to be literal and take this as, I'm going to have a little dance party after I finish listening to this story, beautiful, like really flow in that like water. Like think about channel water on your own, and what would water look like if water was dancing in the forest, and flow in that. And some emotions might come up, and that's okay, right? The emotions are there for us to be on a learning adventure. And you have choice and free will to step into the tools that can help you process those emotions. It takes a lot of courage. If that means seeking therapy, an elder, a priest, a rabbi, a best friend, a canine companion, ancestors, whatever that means to you, you know, move into that energy, move like air into where you need to move into. If you are one who likes to work with the energy centers, this heart card, so the heart messages are going to come from, that's from the divine feminine, and those are going to be messages that are exploring, understanding, and stepping into your feelings, your emotions, intuition, flow, real heart-based action. So if you are going to do the dance, what's really beautiful to me is all this green. There's a huge connection between this idea of dance, to break free, to step into the fullness of who you are outside of the confines of a very box state of being. If you're into chakras, this would be your sacral chakra. So maybe when you're dancing, pay attention to what that movement produces at your sacral chakra. And in that, you can have a conversation like what the feeling that you're having. So feeling meaning like, does it feel really loose? Does it feel like there's a lot of room in there? Is it gurgling? Is it, and also the emotion. So is it sadness? Is it joy? Is it excitement? Is it fear? Like whatever it is, pay attention and have that. That's what insight is about. These insight stories, it's offering you the opportunity to remember the different places that you have the answer within you at all times. It is essentially about the discovery. And before we can really get to the discovery and the new beginning, it's about healing and growth, right? And letting the tears flow and the grief to make way for that healing and growth. And this particular story from the equinox is like, now is the time to be in forgiveness, whether that is the self or to others. I want to pull an animal spirit card to just kind of see particularly to this idea of forgiveness. Like, what animal energy, Equinox, what animal energy can folks lean into to support them on this process of releasing sadness, tears, and grief to make way for healing and growth and the discoveries therein, right? And support that discovery, exploration, and new beginning. Well, Pisces was like, my season is almost over. I'm not going to let you get away. We're not going into Aries without a little bit of fish. So fish, we pulled fish. And let's see. So fish is about restlessness, change of focus, and lost in the current. The fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement, and more movement. Ashe. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all of the possibilities out there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend some time with the lunar forces, dear fish, as the peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. So, the message I'm getting is that, like, some folks, this story is, it's about communication, about air, it's fast moving, and it's offering you this idea of like moving to dance. And just remember that when you do move into that like you're seeking balance. Like, so it's not solely movement for movement's sake. It's going to be movement. Slow down for a moment and deepen your connection with yourself, your others, your ancestors, and flow in the gift of emotions. So be in both, hold both. This idea of, I need to be on this learning adventure. I need to burn and release what's no longer serving me and activate what I need to activate. Transmute the definitions that are coming at me of who I am, not who I was. Yes. And rest is doing something. Doing nothing is doing something. So just know that even as a fish, if you're thinking I need to move, that you also need to still sometimes. There's other things like usually in here they'll say when you're out. So when your fish is in balance, you travel well, you're really adaptable, right? So you're going to be able to, that you're in balance because you're able to move from movement to stillness with ease. When you're out of balance, you are going to be really distracted, changes the mind often, right? So remember when I said like this story is about perhaps a lot of thoughts coming in, that communication, air, energy, a lot of thoughts. And even, like I said, well, I didn't say it, like Equinox said, this is going to be a lot about the mind. You're in the mind, it's in the thoughts. So really slow down enough. And the way to do that is going to be to set a really small goal and accomplish it. So like some of y'all are like, okay, after this, I'm going to have a 25-minute dance party. Well, maybe just try for 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes, you did it. You did burn off something. Congratulate yourself. Give yourself some love and care. And know that more is to come, right? That's the abundance mindset. More is to come. Some of you are like, oh, hells yeah, I'm the hunter. I'm going to run through this. I'm going to transmute all my definitions right now. That's a lot. So give yourself a break. Like, we have been being given definitions of who we are, who the world is, who our relationships are to ourselves, to others, to the earth for millennia. And many of them are really toxic, and it's going to take time to shift those definitions. It takes effort, it takes time. So just, start with a few definitions. Don't try to change all of them, because that shift is definitely, this is transmute your definitions of your own and others' worth and worthiness. It's easy to say that in a sentence, but if you're doing the self-inquiry work, that's no small feat right there. And you do have to flow in the gift of emotions to deepen your connection to yourself, to even transmute the definitions of your own worth. Because like I said, we're talking karmic learnings, ancestral learnings, all these things that many of us came here in this time to unlearn and then activate and then be in the space of the new beginning. If there's anything else for folks who like the having affirmations or prompts, Teat, her invocation is, I forgive myself, I forgive them, I set us both free. I forgive myself, I forgive them, I set us both free. Yeah, it doesn't really give for the air card. It doesn't really offer, but I will offer the breathe, slow down, be curious tool of transmuting. So, if you're finding yourself needing a very clear tool to help you not be so reactive in this process of your story of forgiveness or forgiving self or others, breathe, slow down, be curious. So the breath itself is what's going to help you slow down. And then once you slow down, that be curious is about checking in with the self. What do I need? Because it's be curious. A lot of us are trained that be curious is going to be curious to the external universe. No, reframe. It's going to be curious with yourself. Yourself deserves that first lens. What do I need in this moment? And of those things that I need in this moment, start with the things that you can give yourself. And then if there's things that you need that you're deeming other people need to give, go to those second. So start with, what do I need? Of those things, what can I give myself? And then move from there. And then you can move into the collective of like, okay, what's happening for others? And incorporate that information in your I. Let's see, for the dance card doesn't have a prompt or an invocation, but it does have a Rumi quote. And, we always got time for Rumi. Okay. I'm actually just going to read you the whole dance card because this is really well written. Now is the time to dance, not because this moment is easy or celebratory, but because your divine nature insists that you revel in who you are. And who you are is more glorious, more stunning, and more powerful than you ever imagined. So dance when you feel bountiful. Dance when you feel scarce. Dance for the truth that you are more than this circumstance, this situation. Dance your grief, your joy, your power. As Rumi said, dancing is not just giving up painlessly like a leaf blown on the wind. Dancing is when you tear your heart out and rise out of your body to hang suspended between the worlds. Ashe. And we're in eclipse season. We're in liminal space right now. We're in the this moment. I'm making this video. I'm actually making this video on the eve of depends on, it's on the eve of the exact equinox or a few hours out from it. That moment, that threshold of I think they call it the sun crosses the celestial equator, right? Moving from the southern to the northern hemisphere. And so it's marking the beginning of spring in the northern hemisphere and autumn in the southern hemisphere, with roughly equal day and night lengths globally. What a beautiful threshold, right? What a beautiful liminal moment and space. And so I kind of wish I had done this yesterday so that folks could dance tonight. But, energy is energy. And if it wouldn't work, Equinox wouldn't have given it to us. So if you're checking this out, I keep getting this message of like, yeah, do a little dance, do a little dance party with yourself, with people you live with your companions, with your ancestor altar. I don't know, but dancing is not just getting up painlessly like a leaf blown on the wind. Dancing is when you tear your heart out and rise out of your body to hang suspended between the worlds. Yes. Thank you, Rumi. And I think that's, let's see, let me just be quiet for a moment and see if anything else comes in. Nope. I will say that, like, it's like my relationship to Equinox, it's, it's nature, it's Earth, it's Gaia, it's the energies of this beautiful planet that we're on. And I love that the cards that the Equinox pulled are horses, dancing trees, dancing body trees. In this one, we've got elk horn. There's some bird feathers in there. I think I see an eagle. There's definitely a bear and more nature aspects in the background. And I mean, it was definitely going to be an animal, right? Because it's the animal spirit deck. But I love that Equinox pulled in Pisces energy. So I hope that whoever this message is finding, that it offers you some insights into your journey, into self-inquiry, and know that I am cheering for you. I'm cheering for you. I'm cheering for you. May this message be something that really, truly helps you along your journey and your path, for your I, so that it is for the greater good of the collective. My energy is going to stay with me. Your energy is going to stay with you. Thank you so much for spending this time. Thank you to my higher self, your higher self, our healed ancestors, spirit guides in the lights, guardian angels, archangels, for all showing up and holding this space with us, for us. Unfettered and infinite love and gratitude.